Hello people, welcome to Makeup on Point. I'm Christy and today we are going to talk about Kill Bill. Yes, we're going to talk about some badassery that is Uma Thurman kicking some butt with Vivica A. Fox and Lucy Liu in it. We're only going to talk about volume 1 and we're going to play with some makeup today. So if you want to play with makeup and talk movies, keep on watching. Okay, so I'm back. I did my brows off camera and I did one eye to be sure what I wanted to do. I did a lot and some blood splatter. So let's get into it. I prime my eye. Let's talk about how the idea of Kill Bill came about. During the filming of Pulp Fiction, directed by Quentin Tarantino, who is the director of Kill Bill, he got into a lot of conversations with Miss Uma Thurman, who turned out to be one of his great muses during his filming career after Pulp Fiction. In those talks, Quentin Tarantino discussed how he wanted to make a 70s style kung fu flick. If you've seen any Quentin Tarantino film, you would realize he likes to play homages to many different films that he loves and watched as a kid. Oh, before I say anything else, I'm actually going to be using the Lunar Beauty Life's a Drag palette to do my entire look today. This has honestly been one of my favorite palettes. So, back into it. I'm actually going to take the color Campy, which is the yellow shade. I think I'm going to go, how do I do this? I'm going to go around, what is that? My crease. I'm going to go around my crease with that color, just blend it out. You know I'm going to cut and put yellow in later, but let's work on it. So, while they're discussing about this kung fu flick that he wanted to make, Uma Thurman came up with an idea for this image of a close-up shot of a beaten up and bloody woman, and as you zoom out of the shot, she happens to be in a wedding dress. So from that talk, it sparked an idea in Quentin Tarantino's head that he needed to create a film based on that image alone, and he wanted to create a film that would play tribute to like martial arts film, samurai cinema, blaxploitation films, and spaghetti westerns. I'm gonna take the color Snatch, which is the red color, and I'm gonna further blend that in. So with all those ideas and concepts that Quentin Tarantino wanted to do, he actually spent a year and a half writing the script, and in this year and a half he actually spent that time with Uma Thurman, who at that moment just had her baby girl. So in spending that time together, it actually further influenced the way Tarantino wrote the character of the bride, and actually made her more mature and more motherly in the film while spending that time with Uma Thurman and her daughter. And actually, he didn't think of writing the story of the bride's daughter until late in the writing process of the script, about 4 to 5 months towards the end of writing that script. So once you get a script together, you gotta start casting it. So Uma Thurman was always gonna be the bride. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. She was always gonna be the bride. She came up with the idea. There was no questioning on that. So now we have the casting for Bill, our main villain, and you know, the title of the whole movie. So for Bill, before David Carradine was actually cast as Bill, there were actually many others and almost a cast that happened instead. So Jack Nicholson was involved to be cast. Kurt Russell was involved. Mickey Rourke and Burt Reynolds were all in the leads to be Bill. However, Warren Beatty was actually going to be cast as Bill. He was ready to be on it, but then in further researched that Bill kind of needed a martial arts background and was gonna have greater screen time, Warren Beatty was out and David Carradine was in. And it's also said that Warren Beatty, to the moment of getting into filming, still didn't understand what the script was even about, so that was another judgment. I'm like, let's kick him out.
Hello. Hello.
Oren Ishii is a fun character in the last of our fun fact casting portion of this video. Now, Oren Ishii was originally supposed to be just a full Japanese character. So Quentin Tarantino was just gonna find a Japanese actress to play her character. However, upon seeing Lucy Liu in the movie Shanghai Noon and seeing how much she kicked ass in that movie, he quickly changed the writing for the character to fit Lucy Liu and turned the character into a Japanese Chinese American and cast Lucy Liu for the role. Now that we're done talking about casting, now let's talk about some filming and development facts, why don't we? Now, they actually had to delay production. I'm using the color Shady now, which is the black eyeshadow of the palette, just so you know. They delayed production of the movie due to Uma Thurman being pregnant. And they almost tried to convince Tarantino to cast someone else so they could speed up the filming, but he was like, hell no, that's not happening. And the extent of filming, actually, hold on, before I mention how long it took to film, although the movie doesn't take place in order, they actually filmed all the scenes in chronological order in which they would have happened in the movie. It actually took 155 days to film the movie and took a budget of $55 million to make it. That's actually, I think that's the budget for both Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Kill Bill. Which originally, fun fact, Kill Bill was supposed to be all one film. However, due to a producer opinion, which we're not going to speak about because that man is a horrible man, he suggested to actually make the film into 2 movies. And that actually made Quentin Tarantino very happy because that involved him not cutting not a single scene to make this long ass movie. Whew. I feel like I just made a sunset on my eyes now that I'm redoing it. We're gonna talk about these scenes in chronological order because the bulk of the movie involves Oren Ishii and the Crazy 88 battle scene. So let's talk about that whole dynamic of the movie. That whole battle scene took about 8 weeks to film, making it 6 weeks over schedule of filming. Tarantino said he wanted to make one of the greatest, most exciting sequences in the history of cinema. I mean, wouldn't anybody want to do that? Since he really loves kung fu films, he wanted to make it an extravaganza. So to make his greatest sequence in cinema, he didn't want to use CGI, which I commend him for, because that would have been the easy route to go. He wanted to use practical effects. He wanted to use specifically 1970s Chinese cinema practical effects. And he even told his crew, and let me read it verbatim what he said to them. He told his crew, let's pretend we're little kids and we're making a Super 8 movie in our backyard and you don't have all this extra cool stuff. How would you achieve this effect? Ingenuity is important here. The makeup and FX team obviously did a great job, but they even used the use of condoms filled with fake blood to create all those squirts. But they use a shit ton of blood. They used 450 gallons of fake blood. That is enough fake blood, liquidy blood, to fill a regular size hot tub. And I mean, when you watch the scene, it is a perfectly blood everywhere, blood in pools, blood spurting out of every chopped off crevice of a body that you'll ever see. However, you know, using that much blood, the MPAA, which is the Motion Picture Association of America, did not appreciate that much blood seen on a movie screen. So they wanted Quentin Tarantino to actually tone it down. Now, that's not Tarantino's style. He didn't want to tone it down. So he looked back on other kung fu films, specifically kung fu films that actually aired in American TV. And in American TV censorship, you can't really show that much blood either. So he took a little skill that they use and actually turned the whole scene into black and white. And it made it more acceptable to air that bloody gore of a scene, to be okay for the ratings to be just okay and viewable for American viewers. And that scene you actually see a lot in, well, you saw a lot. They don't really do that anymore. And even American wrestling that you see on TV. So Quentin Tarantino turned the whole scene into black and white, and the MPAA were completely satisfied with it. To be honest, I think there should be a version of it out there. If anyone can make it, they should definitely make it Sin City style, where it'd be black and white and red squirting everywhere. I think that would be so much fun. Can someone find a way to make... Has that been edited before? I have to look up some things. Along with all that bloody mess that they've made, they actually spent a lot of money on those swords and accessories for the film. Now, they spent, out of their $55 million budget, they spent $60,000 on all swords and accessories for the swords for the film. I would like a Hattori Hanzo sword, and I would just display it. I would display it right back here. Yep. Whenever Comic-Con is allowed to be open fully again, I think I gotta look into some sword buying for funsies. To be honest, Kill Bill is one of my favorite movies, because it just makes me just want to kick some ass. Doesn't it make you want to do that? Along with swords and accessories, there's some other things. If you actually, this is actually just a random fun fact. If you look on the shot, along with, you know, Uma Thurman wearing the yellow and black tracksuit that is inspired by Bruce Lee's suit from the movie Game of Death. If you actually look on the bottom of her shoes, which they do show a shot of it, it actually says "you" on the bottom of her shoes. You know, the bride's been through a brutal beating, a 4-year coma. I think she's well deserved to say that after all she has been through. So there is a band in the House of Blue Leaves scene who are actually the 5-6-7-8s. Quentin Tarantino came across them by accident while looking around in Japan for location shoots. He was in a shop and happened to hear them over the overhead, and the shop was just playing their music. And he asked the associate who was working there, "What is playing? I need it now." And the associate told him, and since he had no time to go to a record shop, he begged and pleaded the associates in that store to have their CD. He will buy the CD from them. And he begged and begged, and he gave it to them. They gave it to him, paid for it, and on his flight back to LA, he listened to the track, and he instantly asked to sign them for the movie. Sometimes things are just meant to be. Now there's an impressive shot. There's an impressive long, steady, one-shot scene with no cuts that if you pay attention, you can easily miss it without realizing it. And it's actually a pretty impressive shot. It lasts about 2 minutes with no cuts, no editing, nothing. They actually had to do a total of 6 hours of rehearsal and 17 takes to actually get it done. So 6 hours of rehearsal, 17 takes to actually get it perfect. And it's the shot from when the bride actually leaves from Oren Ishii's door, from when they almost catch her by the door. She goes, so the camera starts by following her feet down the stairs, and they follow her into like the bathroom area. Well, they follow her through the hallway, through the kitchen to get to the ladies' restroom. And it even like captures, like it even uses tricks like changing a lighting. So you actually see Uma Thurman's character in the bathroom scene. And then it cuts back and follows a different person outside to go back out into the hallway from the kitchen area. Then it follows the two owners of the restaurant back to go back up the stairs to Oren Ishii's. Then you get a close-up of the singer from the band, and then it goes to Sophie. Follows Sophie back down the stairs, back through the hallway, back into the restroom. It just follows her into the restroom, and then the moment her cell phone rings, it cuts. And it's a long, lengthy scene, and is well executed. The reason I'm talking about this scene is because it actually takes a lot to get a scene like that done. That if you pay close attention enough, you actually see they had to carry the cameraman on a crane at some point to get him over, and they had to remove a wall in the scene from the part where Uma Thurman is going to the bathroom. They had to remove a wall so the crane can fit to drop the cameraman into the bathroom to continue the shot. And then I guess they may have held him back because then he had to take the camera and literally walk backwards blindly to continuously get the shot done. And then after it gets to the close-up scene of the singer, they actually had to put a ramp right behind him so he's able to bring the camera up so he get the shot from Sophie from higher up and follow her down those stairs, and then he could follow continuously back the same pathway back into the ladies' restroom. It's a really impressive shot. Like, stagehands really had to like rush and get that ramp in. That's why it took 17 takes to get it that. You need to get, for something to get that done, you have to do it smoothly. And just like, it's a continuous shot for a good 2 minutes. 2 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but actually a lot is happening in those 2 minutes. Again, if you're not looking for it, you don't fully like notice it right away. It's actually rumored that the Steadicam operator, what's his name? Larry McConkey, he actually passed out from exhaustion from trying to get that shot done. Well, good for him. The work hard paid off. I think it was worth it. I think it also just added to the craft that Tarantino kind of puts into his films. He seems to be a very he's very into what he's doing. He's very, you could see when he talks about in interviews about his movies, it's very of like a passionate, motivated, like in a way nerdy, geeky type of talk. You could say that about me right now talking about the movie. Let me add some blood splatter. I'm gonna use my Ben Nye Fire Red Aqua Paint, this little itty bitty stipple sponge I cut it up into this little itty bitty one. Add some water, dip it in, and I'm gonna go in very small. I'm just gonna add that to the outside where it's blended. As I'm putting my foundation on, I'm going to use the Beauty Bakerie Insta Bake foundation in the color 339N. So while I'm putting this on my face, let's talk about another assistant of Ishii. Let's talk about Miss Gogo Yubari, our violent little assistant who loves violence and torture and blood and penetrating men with swords. Her character actually in early writings had a twin sister, and there was going to be a scene during the Vernita Green scene that after the bride was done taking care of Vernita Green, Gogo Yubari's vengeful twin sister, whose name would have been, what was her name going to be? Yuki. Her name was going to be Yuki. She was going to actually be attacking the bride in a gunfight to seek revenge for her sister's death. Now, the reason this didn't happen was due to Tarantino's struggle that the movie was already way too long. It was going to cost him another $1 million to make the scene, first of all. So first we're getting into budget to create a scene. It's going to make the movie much longer. And at that point, because it's just taking so much more effort. And when you even think about it, was it really going to add anything to the movie? With everything going on, do we really need an extra fight that didn't, and that had no dealings with the bride's revenge on everybody else? So the whole scene was scrapped on the cutting room floor. Another fun fact from Gogo Yubari's character, which is more of a behind the scenes goof that's happened, while she was dealing with her little ball and chain weapon, she actually hit Quentin Tarantino right on his head with it, because he was at that moment right behind the cameras, and she just went, didn't knock him out. And if you pay close enough attention to her fight scene with the bride, when she flips and lands on the table, you can actually hear the fall of bowling pins in the background. I'll play it right now. You heard it? Did you hear it? Let me play it one more time. There you go. Now that we got through everyone else in the House of Blue Leaves scene, let's talk about our main villain. Let's talk about Ishii.
Silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids.
Let's actually start off with her backstory scene. Her little anime origin story. Well, anime manga style origin story, which actually was not influenced by anime or manga for that scene. The inspiration actually came from a Hindi Tamil film called, let's hope I say it right, Alavandan, that came out in 2001, and Quentin Tarantino watched it and was amazed that it is a live action, like, I think it's a serial killer film from what he described. You can find some of it on YouTube. I'll play a scene right here now. And he was more surprised that there was a scene in it that went from live action and went to animated, changed to animation when it came to showing some violence. He was very, as he is with all movies, very inspired to use that in his movie. They used that to tell her origin story, which, I mean, in some ways would probably be easier, since if he didn't want to film Gogo's twin sister's vengeful scene, imagine how much more it would have been to film a live action origin story. During this contour intermission of talking movie facts, I also wanted to ask you all, what movies would you like to know about? I have a lot scheduled for literally the rest of 2020 actually. I have a series coming for next month, for all of September, which we'll talk about during the last week of this month. But I think I think you'll enjoy it. It involves a dark night. And that's all I'm gonna say right now. I have a lot of ideas for Halloween that I have a lot planned, but some of them I've been going in and out and switching up. TV shows, I do have one more to get done for this month that I think for how this series is gonna work is that most of the time I'm gonna have a movie video every week. That is not what we use. I am gonna have a movie makeup chat every Friday for this channel, and movies may come twice a month because I've watched a lot of TV shows, but there's a lot of work and research involved when it comes to each video that I have going with the series, along with the makeups that I want planned for each video. So we are gonna do Let's Talk with a Makeup Brush series, more on movies and movie facts, but there are gonna be many TV shows involved as well. They just take a bit longer to make. That's why they're only gonna be about twice a month that a TV show we put into this chat and makeup video. So I would like to bring it down to you as well. If there are any movies or TV shows you would like to be involved in one of these videos, comment them down below and you may see them in the future. Because I just find behind the scenes facts of movies and how movies are made and how movies are created and what came with the idea process, what happened here. Some movies are cursed, some movies have had accidents, and I just think it's a fun chit chat that we can do here. As I powder contour my face let's dive into our battle scene with Ofra. So there's a nice little foreshadow comment she makes. No, I don't know why I hold my head like this while I contour. Don't ask questions. She makes the comment, hope you saved your energy. You may not last 5 minutes. Now, little did Ofra knew that the bride, from the moment Ofra steps forward and the music cues in the scene, the bride fatally gets her in 4 minutes and 59 seconds. Underestimated her, did you? The way Ofra died was getting her cut off from a real Hattori Hanzo sword. In the original script, she was actually supposed to be decapitated by the sword. However, if they went along with that, it would be missed out of the famous line that the realization she has, since she doubted that sword was even real. Since Hattori Hanzo made a blood oath to never make those swords again. They switched it to just her head being sliced right here, so she can have that realization that, oh, maybe that is a real Hattori Hanzo sword. I've underestimated everything in my life. Past the movie, it's something that's been brought up, recently by Vivica A. Fox about her Vernita Green character and her daughter, which I kind of want to ask all your thoughts about. Now, Vernita Green was killed in Kill Bill Volume 1, and her daughter witnessed it happening. And the bride said it was okay once she's older to want to seek revenge on her in the future when she, figures it out, becomes of age. And Vivica A. Fox came out recently how Zendaya should actually play that character of the daughter now, and there should be a Kill Bill 3 on Vernita Green's daughter's revenge. Now, Quentin Tarantino always wanted to do a Kill Bill 3, and he even said that the story would actually be about that daughter. because he wants Uma Thurman still involved with it. I am highlighting a lot right now, but that's okay. He wants Uma Thurman involved, but didn't ever want her to be the star of Kill Bill 3. However, he did want it to be about that story of the girl getting her revenge on the bride years later. And do you agree that that would ever happen? It's been so many years since Kill Bill. Kill Bill came out in what year? Let me just reference back to my notes. Kill Bill came out in 2003. It is now 2020. Do you think it'll happen? Would you want to watch that movie of Zendaya on her journey to go kill Beatrix Kiddo, who is the bride, by the way, if you didn't know that? I think that would be a fun movie to watch. I think Zendaya can do a fantabulous job at working that movie. I mean, as of today, she was just Emmy nominated for her role in Euphoria, which is a fantastic show. She did amazing in it. Let me know. Do you think that movie ever happened? Do you want that movie to happen? Do we want to Kill Bill 3 after all these years? Let me know in the comments below. So I completed the look by putting more black eyeshadow, blended out here. I took that stipple sponge and extended that all the way out to my temple like I said I would. Now, since we use our Lunar Beauty Life's to Drag palette, I'm also using the Lunar Beauty liquid lipstick in the color Wicked today, since I'm a good lover of some black liquid lipstick. So I hope you enjoyed this video talking about everything Kill Bill Volume 1. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel, you know, if you want to see more of it. Please follow me on all social media. That will be in the description box below, along with some links to petitions and information about protests and movements that our world is still going through some things. So I think you all should take a look at it. Don't forget to register to vote. So again, be kind to others, wear a mask, love yourself, wash your hands, take care of your health, take care of your mental health while we're still dealing with a pandemic. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.